Hello everyone, the 316 here with another Transformers Studio Series review. Here I have the Transformers Last Night Nemesis Prime. I don't know the retail value of this because I actually got this as a Christmas present. I thought this was still on pre-order, so it's a surprise to me that I have it sitting here in front of me. I always wanted a Knight Optimus Prime figure. I was looking more at the Unique Toys Challenger, but as a Christmas present, I'm not going to complain at all. But this, of course, is based on the Last Night version because it is, as you can see, Nemesis Prime. He's got the red on his face, a darker tone to the figure, and Nemesis Prime is the dark alter ego of Optimus Prime. And yeah, you can see just some of the things he comes with, and yeah, it looks pretty good. Can't wait to open this. Really excited. Alright, I got him out of the package. He comes with quite a few accessories, but one thing I wanted to point out is that his background here is not a scene from the movie like the 86 Bumblebee that I had was. And I know other Studio Series figures have backgrounds like that. This one is just kind of a generic Transformers background. I'm not too big a fan of that. I know that these Transformers go for quite a bit of money nowadays. And, the fact that this one doesn't come with one of those nicely made cardboard backgrounds kind of devalues this, at least for me, a little bit. But yeah, this is just standard looking blue background. I will not be saving this. There's really no point. And he takes up so little of the volume of that. Like, there's so much empty space here. They could have easily made this box smaller, and I get that this is supposed to be, a modern day leader class figure, but I'm not so sure I feel that this is a leader class figure. I'm someone who comes from, the original Bayverse movies where a leader class figure was like the size of a Power Rangers Megazord, and I get that, like something this size. Like this is what I'm used to a leader class being, and the fact that a leader class here looks to barely be above 7 inches tall, as someone from that era, it just kind of perturbs me from buying Transformers anymore. I've seen some deluxe class figures, and we'll get into the size comparison with 86 Bumblebee later, but it's not that it surprises me, it's just kind of sad. We went from really awesome toys that were big and were of good value and quality to smaller Transformers that they might have more accessories and maybe even compatible with other figures, but are just a lot smaller and have a little bit less detail than I would like. But I wanted to look at the accessories in the figure before I try to transform this thing. I'm not going to do it on camera, don't worry. There's a lot of steps, and as I'm recording this, I haven't actually transformed it yet. I just wanted to look at the action figure portion of this Optimus. So accessories wise, he comes with quite a few things. He's got his sword here, and I do like this sword. It's a nice sword. Like, I can't complain, it's a sword. But yeah, it's a good size. Like, it's almost as tall as him. So that just goes into his hand here. And I don't know why his hand don't want to open. There we go. And then it doesn't clip into place, but you can hold it in with his hand there. And that looks pretty good. And I believe you can detach. Well, I thought you could detach these, maybe not. Yeah. I don't think so. Maybe if again, I haven't transformed this, so I don't completely know. But yeah, you can't actually have him hold it in two hands with like an articulation joint here, like a butterfly. But he might be able to hold it with both hands, but it's at least I can't get him to. But yeah, I mean, he looks good with the sword, don't get me wrong. But I think he's supposed to have the sword and shield, which the shield here comes in 3 different parts. And I think the idea here is that you have a shield form, which just pegs into those holes here. So it could be like this, and then he can hold it, I believe, through this, or you can put it on his arm like that. So you could have it, this way, or you could have it in his hand like this. So you could have it either way. And then I don't particularly know what this form is for. I believe it's supposed to be like a turret, like a gun of some kind, machine gun maybe, because there is, you know, those three little barrels at the end there. Kind of hard to see, but yeah, I think that's supposed to be like a gun, like pew 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 pew. At least the instructions I'm looking at, it shows it with these in the innermost position rather than the outermost position. But I mean, this is three separate parts, and I know people like to make like custom transformers with these ports here. I don't know the size of this. If I'd have to guess, it's 5 millimeters. Yeah, maybe 3. I don't know. But I'm going to keep it in this form for the rest of the review, just because I think that this looks nicer. And then, getting the sword out of his hand, he does come with another weapon. He comes with his shotgun here. I will say, while it's not really painted all that well, they did paint the metallic barrels on, so I can appreciate that. But the rest is all blue, and he can just hold that in either of his hands. There we go. And that does look pretty nice. He's got a shotgun there. And then he also comes with the thing he almost stabbed Bumblebee with in the movie. This I do know. And that can attach on either side right there above his wrist. And I do like that. That looks good. You know, you could stab someone with it. And of course you could swap both of these accessories, or you could even have them both on the same side if you want to do that. I don't know if you feel fancy. And then I believe these do combine with each other, so you could put this, maybe not, or wait, does it go over here? Yes, it does attach to the gun itself, so if you want them to look even more stylish, you could do that. So it's nice. I at least appreciate that they included this and the gun. I don't know if the original version of this figure included either one, but maybe this came with more accessories. And then lastly, he comes with this so that he can hold the sword and shield on his back. Let's see, how does that work? You flip this whole section up, and then it looks like you can put this somewhere. I'm trying to see where it shows on the instructions. It looks like they say to put it on the side here on this piece. Yes, that does hold on there. It's not really the best place to put it, I would say. It doesn't say where to put the gun though. Yeah, I'm looking at the instructions, and I guess I can show you. They're in purple, but it shows where to put all of his accessories, and I'm not seeing the blaster here unless I'm looking right at it. But like I could see, you know, his oh, I see where it is. It's over here. It's just really hard to see. So that also ports on the back here, and then you got this piece you plug in, and it looks like you put this through the sword. I don't think it clips into place. Yeah, it just kind of sits there, and then this goes on the back. And he's got quite a mighty backpack on him, but thankfully it's not top heavy. So, like, I could probably lean him back a little bit. Yeah, he's still fine. He's got a lot of strength to him, so it looks good there. And, you know, he's got all of his accessories on his back. I do like that. You know, as a toy is something you play with. This is nice. You know, accessory storage is always something I appreciate. It shows I wouldn't say it shows a well-engineered figure, but it shows one with those things in mind. But, you know, you could take all of this stuff off. And I don't know if any of this stuff, besides maybe the sword and shield, store on the vehicle mode. But let's take a look at the actual figure now. I've been rambling for like 9 minutes just about accessories. But I do like the details on this figure. I remember seeing the original one, I think Prime vs. Prime's video, where this dark gray was actually a light gray. And it looks fine, but I think this dark gray, at least in person, it looks really good. And it almost has like a greenish blue, like an aquamarine color to it. And I do like that, as, you know, this is the evil version of Optimus Prime in those movies. And I don't think that the camera really does this justice. Like, here's a black light. It might bring out some detail, a bit more than others, but it really just brings out the red colors. And especially on that head sculpt. Let me get this up here. You can see with the black light that red really shines on all parts of the figure. So I would get a black light for this figure just for those red sections. They do look very nice under a black light. The blue plastic is like slightly metallic. It doesn't feel like it's cheap quality or anything. It looks pretty good. The face sculpt looks great as well. You know, if you prefer a prime with the face covering, this is probably not the figure for you, but I'm sure you could probably do a head swap with this figure. But no light piping. Yeah, no light piping. I miss when they did that on figures. Not a ton of articulation in the head, but it is there. And he can get side to side for some more expressive poses. I do like the slight gold accents as well. It's only here and on the legs, but it just adds that little extra pop of color. Of course, I would love to see this more detailed. I myself may come in with like a silver Sharpie pen and, you know, add some more detail, but as it is, I do like what detail is here. And, you know, the back of the figure has some as well, but that's because it's truck mode parts. Now, I think that this backpack here is removable, but I'm not seeing anything in the instructions where you're supposed to do that. But when I looked at this figure, there is this mushroom peg joint which you could probably like slide off. So I'm going to try that real quick. It really doesn't want to come off, but that just came off. Alright, I'm not going to try to do it anymore. It doesn't want to come off, and I think this went this way. I'm just double checking. Yeah, it went this way. And then I think this all kind of just collapses together. Some of these parts feel really tight, and in a bad way. Some of these feel okay otherwise, but yeah, it's a good looking Optimus Prime figure. I'm not too big a stickler for the backpack. You can remove it, but I'm really not a big fan of the legs here. This is not accurate to the, you know, in-universe model, especially the smokestacks, considering you have those ones and then the short ones back here. It just feels a little redundant. They probably, at this budget point, couldn't find a better way to hide it. I don't think it looks bad. I don't think it detracts from the figure, but, you know, you can hide those. The inside of the legs look fine. This is what I'd expect for a Transformer. So, yeah. Let's get into articulation. You saw what you could do with the head. He has these shoulder pads here that can go up and down. They can go forward or back, depending on how you like them rotated. And then arms-wise, he does over 180 degrees there on the T-pose. And then he has a swivel here at the shoulder, but it's very stiff. And then he's got double-jointed elbows that do a perfect right angle. I briefly showed the hands, but they do go forward quite a bit. It's probably for transformation. And then he's got a little bit of finger movement, but it's a combined finger movement. And then, if I can get that situated, I think he has a waist swivel, but I think you actually have to transform the figure to get it. Yeah, so he has waist swivel, but you gotta pull up his skirt pieces here. And if you pull this one up too much, it gets underneath the section there. These go up nice though. And then leg wise, let's get the skirt out of the way. With the skirt out of the way, he gets, again, another perfect 180 there. And then he's got almost a perfect 90 degree there. And then he's got a single joint in the knee, it looks like. Perfect 90 degrees. Transformers don't really need anything else. And then he's got the swivel, and it can go all the way around, but because these thighs get in the way, it doesn't really work all that well. And then he has ankle swivel as well as pivot. And I don't think it can go forward, but his heels here, you can actually remove these if you want to. It came off in the package, so yeah, not too bad articulation. I do wish it had a butterfly joint of some kind so that he could hold the sword with both hands, but as it is, he's got some pretty good articulation. I'm going to figure out how to transform this and come back. Alright, I have finished the transformation here, and I'm not sure how I would describe it. There's a lot of panel work going on here, and some of it doesn't want to properly go into place here, especially these side panels. You can see some of it sticking out. And I think this one's actually underneath where it's supposed to be. I'm not going to bother moving it, but you know, the vehicle itself looks great. I'm not the biggest fan of those smokestacks back there. They look kind of weird. I do not like these things up here, but I do believe it's accurate. The Autobot logo, I wish that was painted in red, just so it stood out. It's a, you know, good-looking truck. I don't see anything, like, majorly wrong with it. I'm pretty sure I didn't mistransform it. I think everything here is as it's supposed to be. But, actually, wait, I am missing something. This back panel here, that's supposed to go out. And then you're supposed to tab it in. Okay, that's what I missed. I'm looking at it, and I'm like, there's supposed to be weapon storage on this thing. But yeah, that makes the trailer hitch. And, you know, other than this being kind of gappy, everything else looks pretty good. I don't have any issue with it. I do wish this was filled in, though. That would look a bit better. But, you know, because this is supposed to be used as weapon storage, it's not really, you know, gonna be seen all that much. And this back section here does not like staying tabbed in, I'll tell you that much. It's definitely just these two backlights. And then, yeah, this whole section doesn't want to stay in either. But, yeah, you put the sword in on like that, and then you stick this on top. And that's the weapon storage for those two. And then this one, you could put on either side, but it's supposed to tab onto the side of these wheels here. And then that's that weapon storage. It doesn't get in the way of rolling. It rolls fine with that on there. Might be able to put it on top of the shield, and yeah, you can kind of see this doesn't like staying together. I don't think there's anything else supposed to support it, but it is there. And again, it doesn't want to stay tabbed together for some reason. There's tolerance issues on this, like every other figure that I know. And I probably should have did size comparisons when I had it in robot mode, but I'm just gonna have to transform it back. It'll give me an opportunity to figure it out a little bit better. This thing is not very big though, at least for me. So I'll stick it on its side here. It's about like 7.5 inches long, and then at its very tallest point, it's only about 3 3/4 inches tall. And then width-wise, you're looking at maybe 3 inches, maybe a little bit more. But here he is next to the Age of Extinction Autobot Hound from all those years ago. And this is a Voyager figure. That's a leader figure of the modern era. Maybe not a fair comparison, but it gives you an idea. You know, this was a Voyager from, what was it, 2017? When did Last Night come out? Pretty sure it was 2017, because it went 2009. Sorry, 2007, 2009, 2013. Or what, 2011? Anyway, I mean, I like how they look next to each other, don't get me wrong, but it's very clearly not in the same scale. And I will be transforming this back into a robot mode shortly. Alright, now we can see how he scales with some other figures. So, Prime here, Nemesis Prime rather. At his tallest, at his head, he's about just 7 inches tall. He's a little taller if you include the accessories back there on his back. But here he is next to Age of Extinction Hound here, and mine does have a bit of a splayed leg problem, but again, just want to point out that's a Voyager, that's a leader class. They're about the same height. Scale-wise, I mean, he's supposed to be fat. In vehicle form, I don't think it works, but in robot form, I think he could probably get away with this. And then, speaking of deluxe figures, here's 86 Bumblebee. Yeah, he's tiny. You know, I paid $25 for this, and for double the price, you could get this. So, I do like this Nemesis Prime figure. Again, I got this as a Christmas present. Transformation, I would say, is a lot easier from vehicle to robot. There's a lot of tolerance issues, but I've never had a Transformer that hasn't had some kind of tolerance issue with its joints and stuff. Articulation-wise, as a toy, it's fun. As like a high-end collectible, not really. You know, I'm going to go ahead and show what he looks like next to my other, usual suspects, as I like to call them, action figures. And don't mind Hound down here. But you can see that he's just a little bit taller than a wrestling figure. And obviously two different things two different brands, but you know, I would rather buy the wrestling figure just because it's cheaper, it's better value. I would say, you know, this, you know, you have the transformation where it goes from vehicle to robot and back again. And, you know, it does have additional accessories, but, you know, an Ultimate Edition WWE figure goes for about, at most, $40, and it's about the same height. You arguably get more accessories, cloth goods. Again, different products, but I just think value-wise, Transformers isn't for me anymore, and that's just kind of sad, you know? I remember going to the store as a kid back in the day. I'd pick up a Transformer, and it didn't hurt my mom's bank account. But nowadays, it's just, you know, you're paying $30 for a deluxe figure, and sure, you know, 86 Bumblebee here is an exception because scale-wise, but $30 for a deluxe figure, and it feels more like a, I forget what the size underneath it was, Scout? It just, deluxes are a lot smaller now. Same thing with leader classes. I mean, as I said, this is a Voyager from 8 years ago, I think. And yeah, he has problems standing. Don't mind him. See what I'm saying? He has, but you can see they're about the same height. This used to be a Voyager. Now, this Voyager scale is more of a leader class scale. But again, I get that they're going for scaling things, but I'm just not sure that this is worth $60. Again, glad I got this as a Christmas present, but I probably would not have bought this for myself, even though I really like Knight Optimus Prime. So the transformation I didn't show on camera. I liked it. It was fine. Easy, I guess. Again, tolerance issues aside, but I think the legs have more unique, like, how it transforms in it. I mean, there is a lot of leg here, like, let's be real, that's a lot of leg. And, you know, I do like how the torso transforms. It kind of flips itself inside out. And, you know, in vehicle mode, you can barely see any robot kibble, and I appreciate that. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of this figure. Don't forget to leave a like on the video, subscribe, and hit the bell. It all helps out the channel. And as always, peace.